Good. So one more breath here. And we're going to come on up. We're going to step our left foot forward and come into our first lunge. Left foot forward, right foot back. Lifting that back knee up now into your full lunge. So take your time. Use whatever support you need underneath your hands. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. And just enjoy. Find your whole body in the pose. Add the back of your head in line with your spine. And we're going to switch legs. So coming to the other side. And again, whatever height you want to be with your hands for your lunge. Find that length in the back of the body. Really focus on finding your head in line with your spine. Extend into that inner left heel back there. And we will step forward from here, coming on into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. Let your knees soften a little bit. Let yourself feel equal between your feet. And be mindful. Use whatever support you need. Hands on blocks or elbows above knees, or maybe you feel fine to release your hands towards the ground or to your elbows. And let your head just move around a little bit so you feel a bit of release there in your neck, and you can enjoy the weight of your head. Easy, full breaths in and out. So one more nice full deep breath. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose here now. So take your time, get yourself situated with your feet just the distance apart that feels good for you. Bring your hands behind you for a second and clasp them, and let your hands just kind of slide down to where you feel a lot of space between your shoulders and your ears. Bringing your gaze on forward and out. Come into your breath. Feet equal into the floor. Letting yourself feel the breath coming into the belly and then into the ribs and then up into your chest. Those 3-part breaths. And then release your hands and just let your hands come right to meet there in front of your chest. Enjoying your mountain pose here. And as we unfold our arms right down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend our knees and come on forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice flat back. And we'll step the right foot back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into our downward facing dog pose. So first dog, take your time, walk if you need to. Be mindful, wag your tail around if it feels good. Let your head move, really just allow the dog to feel really easy. Any movement that helps you kind of find your best way into your down dog. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out towards a plank. Nice and strong, engage the belly. Feel yourself reaching your sitting bones down towards your heels and the low belly engaging. And then we're going to lower down. So you can put your knees down first if you choose. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come into a little cobra. Just lift up with your back. Don't push into your hands yet. In fact, float your hands off the mat so that you're really using your back body to lift up. And then go ahead and let the hands just gently support you there. One more inhale, maybe going up a little higher. And then as you exhale, releasing back down, we're going to come on back into down dog from there, whether you go through a full or a half push-up, or back to your hands and knees and back to dog. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet right underneath us. Sitting bones over your heels, wherever you want to go with your support. And let your face go, soft through your face. Full deep breaths now, inhales and exhales, both feeling nice and long and easy. And then we'll let our hands come on back up to our hips and bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, come forward to a flat back parallel to the floor with your arms straight out from your shoulders. So you're reaching out through your fingertips like you have airplane wings, right? And you're reaching back through your tailbone. Your knees are quite bent. You can really find that flat back. One more breath here. And then bring your hands to your heart and lift up to a little chair pose. So your gaze then comes more like 6 to 8 feet in front of you. Very easy though. Feel the weight equal between your feet. Feel the thighs engaged. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to find lunge now. And inhale, exhale into your down dog. Good. Walk your dog a little bit, wag your tail if you want. Move through your feet to the tops of your toes a couple of times, pressing into the tops of the toes just to give your feet a nice little stretch. And then make your way back to full dog. And on your inhale, let your heels rise as high up as you can. And as you exhale, let them lower back down towards the ground. So inhaling, heels rise up. Exhale and lower down. And then one more time. Inhaling, heels rise up. And on the exhale, they come down. Next inhale, we'll come out to plank. Now walk a little bit in your plank. Bend a knee at a time. See if you can actually let the knee that's bent come all the way to the floor. And stay really solid in your pelvis, really strong there in your arms. Finish off, come back to full plank, and we're going to lower down again, whether you come through a half or a full plank. And we'll come into that cobra again. Now you can stay low like we did before, or you can press into your hands and come up higher if you choose. Elbows are hugging in. Remember, you don't want to lock your elbows. Feel that openness across the chest. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to make our way back to down dog from here, whether you come again through that half or a full push-up. Back into dog. And this time, left foot will come forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Right to your breaths. And if you are able to let your hands just float to your elbows, do. Soft face. Think about releasing all around your mouth, all around your eyes, all across your forehead. And then from here, we'll release the hands back up to the hips. Bend our knees and rise up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. We're going to come back to that flat back, parallel to the floor, arms out like airplane wings. Bend your knees. Really let yourself feel the weight equal between your feet. And then bring your hands to your heart. Lift up into that chair pose. This time, if you can let the hands keep coming up through the midline and then open into your chair pose with your arms, hands apart. Arms like just straight up from your shoulders do. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward. We're going to move with the breath. Inhale into a long back. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice. Exhale, back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way to the top of the breath. And let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale, nice long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, down dog. Inhale your way to your plank. Let your exhale lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward, lunge, and inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way to the top, and let your exhale carry you forward. Inhale, nice long back. We're going to come into down dog. Place your hands, you can jump, you can walk your way back. Wag your tail a little bit. Actually, like really, let the hips shift a little side to side. And then come on back into finding your full dog centered now. Reach back through your tailbone. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. And we're going to bring the left foot forward. We're coming up for warrior two. So take your time. Get your stance established there. Be mindful of getting that front knee just where you want it to be. You can look at it, remember. In fact, do look at it. Look down. Let your neck release there. And let your arms just release so that you're feeling really easy in your shoulders. So that when you start to float the arms up and really float them, gaze starts to go with the arm, that left arm, right out over the top of the hand. And you can very easily feel like your arms are just floating out there, held up from underneath. Feet in the floor equal. Shoulders softening down. Good. One more breath. And then we'll turn the left palm up. We're going to inhale, reach up towards the sky. Nice full breath now into that left side of the body. And on your exhale, come on into your side angle so your left hand or forearm can come onto your thigh. Swing that right arm up into line if you can, letting yourself open to the long side of your mat. Let the right pinky turn down towards the floor. Take your time. Try to feel that sense of being very equal between the sides of your body. Remember, you don't want to hyperextend into your front rib cage. Breathe into your back ribs a little bit. Good, beautiful. One more breath. And now turn to look at the floor, and we're going to come into lunge. So you can use your blocks if you want. Let your right heel release directly behind you. We're going to add a twist of choice. So you can keep your right hand down, bring your left hand up to your hip. You can roll that shoulder up, stretch the arm up if you want. Or some of you may want to reposition, bringing that right elbow onto your left knee and come into prayer hands there. That's up to you. So you find a twist that works for you. One more breath. And then bring your hand on back down. We're going to lower that back knee to the floor. And this time all we're going to do is shift our hips back and come into a straighter left leg and extend our torso out over that leg. So you've got the support of your blocks. You don't have to go any lower than you want. Feel the left heel on the ground. Draw it back towards you a little bit. And kind of press into the ball of the foot. So you're engaged as you're stretching through the back of that left leg. Good. We're going to come forward, back to lunge, lifting that back knee up. And from here, we're going to come on back into downward facing dog pose. Good. Find your dog and then come on out to your plank. And you decide, do you want to come down through chaturanga and go into a back bend from there? Or would you like to just come through for an up dog? Remember, up dog, you can put the tops of the toes on the feet if you on the floor if you want. Or you can keep your toes curled under to lift your knees up, right? And then we'll come on back into down dog. Wag your tail a little bit, walk if you need. We're going to come to bringing the right foot forward and come into warrior two on the other side. So again, take your time to line up your heels. Get everything situated, the right stance that you like. Getting easy in that front knee. Look down at it. Let your arms just release. Find that alignment of that front knee just where you're comfortable, how deeply you want to bend it, how long you want your stance. And then when you start to think of floating your arms on, up and out, bring your gaze just right over the top of that right hand. Shoulders are softened down. Energy is kind of extending out in all directions. Out the top of your head, out through your fingertips, down through your feet. One more breath. And then we'll turn the right palm up. We're going to inhale, reach up towards the sky with that right hand, or back behind yourself if you want. One more full breath into your right ribs. And on your exhale, come into that side angle where you have your forearm down onto your thigh. And you can swing that left arm on up into line if your shoulder lets you. So just enjoy finding that length through both sides of the body. Imagine your outer right hip drawing back a little bit, which lines the knee up even better. Just take a breath there. Good. And then we're going to turn to look at the floor. We're going to find lunge here. So take your time. Let yourself find your lunge. We're going to set up for that twist of choice, remember. So you can keep your left hand down on floor or block. Bring your right hand to your right hip. You can stretch the right arm up if you choose. Or, of course, you can come into twisted prayer. You can bring that left elbow across to that right knee. Reach into that inner heel back there. And then we're going to reach back down with that right hand so we can come down with the back knee. And we're going to shift our hips back and come forward over that front long leg, so that we come into really opening up through the right hamstring. Right heel's drawing back towards you. Flex a little bit in that foot, but actually push into the ball of the foot a little bit. So like if you had a strap across the ball of your right foot, you'd be pushing into it. Good. One more breath. Good. We're going to shift back forward. We're going to lift the back knee up to come to lunge. And we're going to come on back into downward facing dog pose. So again, come on out to your plank. If you want to do a vinyasa or kriya, you can, and you can move as slowly or as quickly as you want. And if you don't want to do any of those, don't. Put your knees down if you'd rather. Come into child's pose and rest if you'd like to. So follow what your body needs to do today. Stay in dog if you'd rather. Take your time. Good. And let's meet back in down dog. Good. And from here, we're going to bring the left foot forward. We're coming up for warrior one. So take your time. Get yourself around there, shoulders square. Let your hands come to meet in front of your chest. And again, look down at your left knee. Make sure you're lined up there. Feel the alignment of this back right heel to where you're fully on the floor with your foot. Arch is lifting up, right? And then you can really open right here in the front of the right hip. And just breathe. Let your breath settle down. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. Let's reach our arms forward and up. And keep the hands either forward if you need to, or just above your shoulders if you can. Turn your pinkies towards each other. Maybe imagine lifting right at the base of your shoulder blades, coming up a little bit higher. And imagine that you've got energy going all the way out through the tips of your fingers here. So your hands are really alive. You feel that energy from the shoulders all the way up through the arms. One more breath here. And then we're going to lower our arms on down. We're going to turn to face the long edge of our mat, wide angle here. Bring your hands behind you if you can. Have your blocks handy if you need them, okay? We're going to come on forward. So keep a long back. Like at first, try to think about coming down with a nice flat back. Knees are bent. Feel your chest kind of melting down a little more towards the ground, right? Good. And then if you want to keep folding forward, do. If not, don't do it. And if your arms coming off your back feels really good to your shoulders, you can go ahead and release the arms off. Let the hands go to where they can. Don't force anything. Feel the feet in the floor. Equally, one more breath. And then let your arms come on down. And you decide if you need blocks underneath your hands or underneath your head or underneath your forearms. Set yourself up here. And bend both the knees again for a second. Imagine you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. You're pressing your feet away from each other. And feel your inner thighs melt their way behind you. And now focus in on your breath. Following your breaths all the way in, all the way out. Feeling the ribs expand. Letting yourself feel those little spaces between your breaths. Letting the inhales and exhales become pretty even in length, or even letting your exhales be a little bit longer than your inhales. Good. One more breath. And we are going to slowly walk our hands back out and walk back towards our left foot to find lunge. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. So again, walk to the tops of the feet a couple of times. Really stretch by pressing into the toenails of one foot and then the other. Let it feel really good. Take your time with it. Good. And then you're on your own. You can come out to plank if you want. You can move through for a back bend or not, right? You can come through chaturanga or not. Put your knees down if you'd rather. Stay in dog if you'd rather. Good. Finish off the one you're on. We'll meet back in down dog. And we're going to bring the right foot forward. We're coming up for warrior one on the other side. So, lining up how you feel really good to be, right? For the width of your stance, the length of your stance, getting that back heel in that angle where you feel totally grounded in that back foot, arches lifting up, and you can get that total openness right here in the front of your left hip. And just let your hands come to your heart there at first. Be easy. Let the body find its alignment here. Breathe. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. Let's reach the arms forward. And again, you can keep them kind of forward if your shoulders feel better there. Or you can keep going up to where the hands are above your shoulders. Maybe even bringing your gaze up, feeling that lift at the base of your shoulder blades. So again, energy all the way out through the fingertips. So as the pinkies kind of turn inward a little bit, you feel your shoulders just feel very open. Goes all the way up through the arms, that energy all the way out through the fingertips. Beautiful. One more breath. And then let your arms release on down. We're going to turn again to face the long edge of our mat. Let the feet maybe be a little bit different distance apart than you did on the other side. So if you were really wide, maybe try getting a little less wide. Or if you weren't so wide, maybe let your feet get a little farther apart. And then we're going to come forward. Now, if you like blocks, take blocks under your hands. Do it, because we're going to keep a long back here. And sometimes that feels better, sometimes not. Go ahead and bend a knee at a time at first. Let yourself take your time. Find your inner thighs there. Shifting and releasing. And then end up back at center. Whether your knees are both bent or both straight, let them be equal, fairly equal. And we're going to add that twist of left hand staying down, right hand coming up, and rolling that right shoulder up with the palm right down on your sacrum. Now press your feet gently away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer. Feel your inner thighs release their way behind you. You can stretch that right arm up if your shoulder feels good to do that. And if you're like, oh, no, that doesn't feel good, bring your hand back down. So one more breath. And then release to come on back down. Bend both your knees for a second. Take a little break. And then we're going to do the other side. So again, as you press the feet away from each other, you really feel those inner thighs melt their way behind you. Left hand onto the low back, rolling that left shoulder up. And again, you're flat right there on your sacrum. Good. Twist is in the middle of the back. Arm can rise up if you feel good to do that. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release. Come on down. And let's walk our hands over towards the right. Now you can use your blocks and shift, or you can walk all the way over. Hold on to the outside of your right foot or ankle if you want, but stay there for a breath. And then come on back through center, and we'll go to the left. So again, once you get to where, as far as you want to go, stay there and breathe. Good. And then we'll come on back into center. And again, take your time. Use whatever you want for support. If you like to put your head on a block, put your head on a block, or forearms on blocks, or letting your hands walk back behind you. Whatever feels the most releasing for you today, okay? So that you can really just focus in on that breath. And there's no struggle. It's just easy to receive those full deep breaths in and out. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly walk ourselves out enough so we can walk back to that right foot. Come on back into lunge and back into your down dog. Last vinyasas, if you choose to do any, go for it. Take your time. Just be mindful. If you feel like you don't want to come into anything fast, don't move fast. If you feel like moving faster, do. And then we'll finish off. We'll meet back in down dog. And from here, let's separate our feet wider on our mat towards the outside edges, bend our knees, and walk our hands back. Now you can end up in however squat you want. You can have elbows rest above your knees to support you so you don't put too much stress in your knees. Or you can shift down with your hips and come into a squat here with your hands either like around the outsides of your feet or behind your heels. Or maybe you prefer just to bring your hands, let them come in front of your chest, in front of your heart. So find what feels the best for your hips, your low back. A release. Breathe. Good. And we're going to rise on up. So in order to do that, bring your hands forward, walk your feet underneath you, and get comfortable in your standing forward bend, how far apart your feet are. Let your knees soften a little bit. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. Shift around a little bit. If you need to sway in order to get centered, do. Or if you need to arrange clothes, do that. So take your time. Get really easy. Enjoy feeling the energy flowing now through the body. Good. And then we'll go ahead and release and move around, shake everything out a little bit. We are going to bring our mats into a wall. We have room here in the studio today. So find yourself a little spot. Bring the short edge of your mat in to the wall. And let's come into bringing our left hand towards the wall. And just come into a little tree pose, but we'll come into tree pose with our left foot, the left leg, the supporting leg, bringing our right foot in below or above our knee, whatever we're comfortable with. See if you're going to bring the foot up into your inner thigh, see if you can reach down with your right hand and get the heel up as high as you can get it into your inner thigh, right? And then see about letting go, bringing your gaze forward, feel the foot into the inside of the leg. And if that's too high, lower it below your knee. Now just at first, let your right arm come up overhead, lean towards the wall, and see if you can just come into a little side stretch there. The tips of the right fingers can touch the wall if you want. And if they do, you can even let your left arm hang. And if not, don't do that. I mean, if you're too far from the wall, you can readjust if you feel like you want to touch the wall. Just release and breathe. One more breath. And then start to rise back up. Let that right arm stay up overhead. Let the left arm kind of slink up the wall there. And from here, see if you can go ahead and start to come into your balance. So take your time. Let the fingertips stay on the wall if you need. If you're having a bad balance day, just kind of be where you are. Use what you need so that you don't feel like you're fighting yourself, right? So the foot gently comes into the inner leg comes back into the foot. One more breath. And then let yourself release. Turn around to face the wall now. Both hands touch the wall. You can step back a little bit. And then let your left foot come behind you. If you can get hold of your left foot with your left hand there, coming into quad stretch, do. Now some of you, as you start to push the foot into your hand and let your chest release a little towards the wall, might feel really good to come into your dancer's pose, just not worrying about balance, but letting the wall support you a little bit there. So be where you can. Make sure you're not locking that supporting knee. And then we're going to rise on back up, and we're going to turn right hand towards the wall. And we're going to come into tree pose on that side. So walk around a little bit. If you need to shake your legs out, do. Bring that left foot up. Again, if you're able to reach and get hold of your ankle and pull the heel way up, you can try doing that. And if not, keep the foot below. You know, don't force anything in your hip. It's just if you feel real open in your hip and you like it being higher, the foot higher, you can play with that. And then again, left outer arm comes out and up overhead. And we're going to lean towards the wall. Let the left hand, if possible, you can touch your fingertips. And you can let your right arm hang if that's possible too. So you're supported, but it's a nice side stretch. Feels really good. Just breathe into the left side. Good. And then put your right hand back on the wall so you can rise back up. And again, if you can let the right hand slide up higher up the wall, you can come into your tree pose here, bringing your gaze where you need. If you need to put your foot down, put it back up, do. If you're falling over, do what you need to do to adjust. Good, nice alignment. Feeling that tailbone just reaching down. Good, one more breath. When you're ready, letting yourself release to face the wall. Right foot comes behind you. If you can get hold of that right foot, you can pull the heel in towards the buttocks at first a little bit to get the quad really stretched out there. And then you can press the foot into your hand. Maybe let the left hand go up higher up the wall as your chest comes forward and your knee goes back. So just enjoy pressing the foot into the hand. Let it feel really good to open up through the quad. Nice. And then release to come on down. Turn back to the wall. Come on down and let your tips of your toes touch the wall. And come into a little child's pose for a couple of breaths here. See if you can. Let yourself just release and send your left arm, thread the needle with that left arm, feed the arm through. And you can rest on the left side of your head, or you can put your right hand under your head. You can let that left hand turn palm down or turn the palm up. Just let it feel good. Breathe into your low back. And we're just going to switch sides. So coming on up, and again, as you thread the needle to the other side, you might want to just put your left hand under your head like a little pillow. You might want to stretch your arm out. Just let it feel good. Like a release now, right? Like you're really letting yourself release in the low back, also in between the shoulder blades on your back. Good. And then come on back to center. And we're going to come forward and we're going to get onto our forearms. So you're going to kind of walk your way out and let your toes touch the wall. And actually, flex your feet and go all the way to the balls of the feet touching the wall. All right? Because we're going to lift up from here into a forearm plank with our heels up the wall. Right? So I'm pressing my heels into the wall. I'm imagining I'm drawing them away from each other. Feels the belly gently really working there. Just take one more breath there. Nice. And now come down, and we're going to roll to our left forearm. Elbow underneath the shoulder. Right? So coming into a side forearm plank here. Now you can decide whether you want to do a full one, or maybe you'd rather put your right foot on the floor in front of you, lift your hips up, and stay there, reaching your right arm up. Or maybe you want to stack your feet up. You've got the wall back there. It's kind of handy. You can even put your right hand behind your head, and as you exhale, roll your right elbow down towards the floor, and then when you inhale, rise it back up. So you can do some little curls there if you're like, oh, that's kind of fun. Probably only about 2 of them will be fun, though. And then finish off, come on down, we're going to shift to the other side. So again, these planks, elbows under your shoulder. I like to do like the arm at a little bit of an angle with a loose fist. So you got to kind of find what works for you. If you push into that wall and you get into that full side plank, fine. Or you can put the top foot on the floor, which gives you some support. That doesn't mean it's a lot less, but it helps a little. Or you can put your left hand behind your head and stay there, or do the curls. You can curl the elbow down, bring it up, and you can like go, oh my gosh, no, I'm not doing that. So take your time, do what you can. Finish off. Come back down, roll back to your belly, and now walk yourself back to where you're on your forearms setting up for a dolphin pose, all right? So you're on your forearms, let your head hang for a second, just release. You can either have your hands separated, you know that, or clasp your hands, send your pinkies out. And then you can lift up, heels up the wall, coming into your dolphin. So elbows hug in, and actually, after all that, dolphin feels kind of easy, doesn't it? If you're in the wrong place, if you don't feel like you're at the right angle, come down. Decide if you need your forearms farther away from you, or from the wall, or closer to. And you know, come up and down however you need to. If you want to put your feet up the wall, do it. You can do one leg at a time up. You can walk both legs up if you want to. Or you can go, no, I'm not doing any of that, and rest whenever you need. Don't force it. Let it feel invigorating. You know, that inversion, that being really invigorated by being upside down a little bit. And you know you can rest, go back up again. Sometimes going back up 2 or 3 times is fun. You know when you're ready to rest. You rest however feels good, whether you're wanting to be up with your head above your heart, or maybe it feels better to rest in child's pose. Good. And then finish off. From here, we're going to come into a little pigeon pose, all right? So we're going to bring our left knee forward towards the left front corner of the mat. And if you need a blanket, you can put a blanket underneath that left hip. Remember that the knee angles towards the corner a little bit, so that's that natural turnout, ease in the hip there. And then you can take your time. Stay up if you can on your hands for a second. You might even feel like you want to come up to your fingertips and really lift up. Feel the top of the back foot into the ground there. And just enjoy feeling that openness in the front of your right hip. Right? Now as you ease your way forward, take your time. You know you're welcome to use blocks. You can put blocks underneath your forearms, under your head. You can make a pillow with your hands if you want and rest your head. Some people like to stretch arms forward. You can stay on your forearms. If you can right now, just press gently into the top of the right foot. Just a little engagement there. And press it gently into the outside edge of the left leg. If anybody wants a little bit more, you can come up and let your right arm thread the needle underneath you and come on to the right side of your head, either on your left hand or the floor. Some of you might even want to send your left hand up and around behind you and rest it on your low back, if that feels good, or reach over towards getting hold of that foot. You know, you can actually, if you like that bind and it feels good in this pose, you can bring your arm around. Speaking of short arms, like we talked about earlier though, so just breathe wherever you are. The trick is to find the foot too, right? One more breath. And now come on back to center. Come onto your forearms if you can. And then bend your right knee, flex your right foot. And that might be enough right there. You know, that not only comes into the quad, right, drawing the heel in towards your buttocks, but also really increases this left hip stretch, right, and up into your thigh. Now, you can go up higher, and changes it, obviously. You can reach back if you want and hold on to that right foot with your right hand. You can press the foot into your hand and be happy there, but it's not for everybody. So you be where you can. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release. We're going to switch our legs out. So whatever you want to do before you come to the other side, if you want to do a child's pose or a down dog, just let yourself even out before you bring that right knee forward. Again, remember that angle. Everybody's really well aligned on the other side. So put a blanket if you need underneath your right hip. Take your time there. You know, stay up if you can for a little bit, maybe even coming up to your fingertips and focusing on the front of that left hip. So feeling that openness right in the front of your left hip. One of the best parts about this pose. Good. Now when you do think about starting to come forward, just take your time and use what support you need, blocks, whatever you need, underneath, wherever you need it. And just breathe. Feel the top of the left foot gently pressing into the mat. Feel the outside of that right leg where it's on the floor pressing down a little bit. Breathe. Imagine you're breathing into your pelvis. again, if you like to add that little twist, if you like to thread the needle with your left arm through, again, you may just want to put your head on your right hand there. Maybe you don't even want to go this far. You might want to bring your right arm around behind you, maybe even thinking of reaching towards that right foot there. But just be mindful. Let it feel good. Like a release. If it feels like you're forcing it, don't do it. One more breath, because we're going to make our way back to center easily. So take your time. Come on back. Come up to your forearms. And let yourself just kind of bend that left knee a little bit. Flex the foot and see if you can draw it in closer. Don't force it. If it feels good there and you want to stay there, do. Right? Again, it really increases not just the thigh stretch, but the right hip stretch, right? You can reach back with your hand if you want to get up onto your hands and reach back and hold either the outside of the foot or the inside. And that changes the feeling in your shoulder. So you can reach back and press the foot into your hand a little bit. Feel your quad. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release. Roll on to that right hip and reach your legs all the way on around in front of you here. And separate the feet towards the outside, the corners, front corners of your mat. And bring your hands on back behind you. If you can, just go all the way back to your forearms. And let yourself just release there. So try not to melt, sink down into your shoulders and your chest, right? So imagine the chest rising up. And, if this bothers your shoulders, don't do it. Good. And then from here, we're going to come down onto our back. So bend your knees so that you can adjust. Make sure you're not going to bang into the wall. Come on down and bring your knees in towards your chest. Separate your knees, bring the soles of the feet towards each other into a little Baddha Konasana. So you can hold your feet or you can hold your ankles or your shins. Just let this tailbone now gently reach down towards the ground a little bit. Just a little bit. So that brings a little natural curve into the low back. Imagine the knees just gently reaching away from each other. Let those inner thighs release. Good. And then bring your knees on back into center. Hug the knees in a little bit. You might even want to draw your face up towards your knees and round up into a little ball. That's up to you. And then bring your head on back down if it was up. Let's bring our feet onto the floor. And take your time here. Do a couple of little pelvic tilts just to let yourself just be really easy, getting that sense of the tailbone curling up, the low back coming to the ground, and just relaxing there just a little bit. And you can totally decide here about whether you want to come into a bridge pose or a supported bridge pose, right? You may decide, wow, all I really want to do is get a block, put it underneath myself, and rest, right? Or you may decide you really want to come into your bridge pose, maybe even coming into an upward facing bow if you want, right? With your hands above your shoulders. Take your time. Don't force anything. You need to just lay on that block and release, do. And if you're on the block and you like to lift a leg up or lift both legs up, you can do that too. If it feels good to you to come up with your feet, that helps you find a big release. You can draw your legs towards you even if they're up in the air, towards a little variation of a plow pose, right? If you're up on a block and you kind of draw your legs in other words, listen to your own body right now. And this might not be what's the ticket for you right now, right? If there's something else, if you need to come into a wide angle, if you need to let yourself come into a twist here on your back, start to listen to your body. Take your time. Allow yourself to move in whatever way feels like it's going to help you to be able to release. I'm going to start to come around to get lights, and then I'll start to bring things for those of us here at the studio. If some support sounds like a good idea, I would be happy to bring you anything that would help you be able to release a little easier. Bolsters, blankets. So take your time, wave at me if you start to get ready, but you just don't feel quite.
I'll hold my blanket. Thanks.
Let me know, blankets, bolsters, anything at all sounds good. And just be easy as you feel your breath now coming in and going out. Nothing you need to do in order to breathe. So as you accept your breath, just give yourself these few minutes to benefit from all you just did. It's by allowing yourself to completely and fully relax.
Enjoy feeling the ground underneath you, supporting you as your breath starts to bring you back into wanting to move. As you start to move your extremities and you move on up into your body, just take your time. Let yourself come back to naturally moving the way that feels good to you. And you know you're welcome to stay on your back, to roll to either your right or your left side. If you're comfortable to come onto your side and maybe use your arm as a pillow, you can come into that soft fetal position, which is a nice kind of transition. But take your time. Enjoy being held there by gravity a little bit longer. And just be really easy when you do feel like you're ready to rise up, so that it feels not like you're tensing up, but like you're just starting to sit however is comfortable, and let the length of your spine kind of take over so that you feel you're kind of stacked up there again with your head up on top once you get up to sitting, and you're supported by your spine. You can let your shoulders stay soft. You can move your hands to a place where it feels really easy for your shoulders to be. And just come back to your breath in and out. And on your next exhale, allow your hands to gently come to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Tuesday. So remember, there will be no class the rest of this week and until next week, Wednesday. So you guys I won't see till Friday, a week from this Friday.